There's a fear of vulnerability coupled with this breakdown in community. So we're afraid of being vulnerable. We're afraid of admitting that we do need God. We need someone outside of ourselves to help us. But then also the breakdown that can happen within communities, if there feels like there's no one to turn to, I think that's when we start to feel like we grasp and we have to figure it all out. And we're not going to wait. We're going to solve all of our problems.
Well, it's almost like a perversion of our like rugged American individualism, right? That's being reduced down. It's the same reason why the church says pure capitalism that reduces an individual to an object. That's an evil, right? Obviously, I don't mean to get into economic, right, morality or whatever, but obviously the other side is also an evil. But individualism is not a bad thing. Being able to try to be self-sufficient is not a bad thing, but trying to be self-sufficient to the exclusion of your creator and to the exclusion, I would argue, even of like community and family and all these other interactions with other human beings, that's disordered.
I think JP2 always stressed the idea of personalism. It's like when you view someone as their class, their race, their whatever, you're not seeing them as a person. You're not seeing them as you're seeing them as an entity, like you're a member. And likewise in economic theory, like pure capitalism, you're just a worker number. You got an ID. Yeah. And I think we're becoming like the unique part of our society is that now more than ever, people don't interact face to face. Like you're not interacting with a human, you're interacting with their emoticon, like profile picture. You're texting with people and it takes the personhood out. That coupled with people have more freedom nowadays than ever. Like you interact with people, there's not a lot of constraints on what you can do. You can get away with a lot of stuff nowadays. So when you're not being trained or you're not interacting with a person, your communication and how you conceive of everyone in your life changes. And then you have freedom to act on this perverted understanding of all these people. It's like, well, what is there to hone all this in, to like put a leash on that freedom? And that was another one of those lessons that Joey taught me very early on. Is I had a big problem with all the rules of the Catholic Church. And he's like, yeah, they're not really rules once you embrace them. It's like, I don't struggle not hurting you right now because I've embraced, like, I need to love my brother, like, as just that. He's like, when you embrace this, it just guides your life in a really beautiful way. But right now, people are slaves to freedom. They're slaves to electronics. They're slaves to so many things in modern society. And I think that theology of the body in the most fundamental relation of like, how do you interact with another person, right? How should you see another person? Is that the bedrock of society, which we're losing. And that's why it's so important.
I really like that.
Yeah. And Father Branson actually had a fantastic thing in our Bible study the other day. He was talking about back in the garden with Adam and Eve, like a little kid might see like the whole thing about putting the tree of knowledge of good and evil there and thinking that that's like mean. Like, how dare he like put something that they can't have there? Like, that's just kind of like toying with them. It's a prankster, right? And it's like, no, because what's every relationship? Like, every relationship has some sort of boundaries. Like, if we're going to be in a relationship with one another, like Jessica and I, if we're friends and I'm like, hey, you can't cross this line. This is like the one thing I don't want you to do. Like, if she respects me, if she loves me, she's not going to cross that line. Like, she's going to want to be in relationship with me and not cross that line. And that's not what we see in the garden. And like it's not about the apple or the fruit. It's about the fact that they didn't trust God and like they pulled away from him in doing that action. They crossed that line.
All right, guys, John Henry Span here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure you check out the full video. Also make sure that you like, subscribe, and share it with anybody who you might think is interested. Thanks for being here.